I have spent the past year reading the top recommended books in money, business, and self-improvement. Now, a lot of them seem to have similar themes, but a couple things really stuck out to me and genuinely improved the quality of my life. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down the biggest lessons from those books, ones that can genuinely change your life as they have changed mine. If you actually apply them, that is. Spoiler alert, book 4 is my favorite. Book number 1, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Yes, this one is a little bit older than the rest, but it does hold up just as well. Now, this book is less about business tactics and more about how you think about money, how you perceive it, how you go about acquiring it. You see, this book allows you to believe that you can make money. It tells you that in order to make the money, you have to first believe that you can, which obviously sounds important in hindsight, but really that stops a lot of people from making money is because they truly do not believe in themselves. You see, dreaming is easy. Everybody dreams. Anyone can have a dream. Anybody can wish for these things, but what really sets people apart, the ones who find success, is people that have faith and a solid plan of action. Now, all you need to do is take action and have a plan. That's really it. And it sounds simple because, well, it is. And most people won't even do that. And if you've watched enough of my videos, you know that I am very big on planning. As much as I love setting goals, planning is the thing that will take you from where you are to where you want to go. A lot of people see the goal as the final destination, the place where you want to get to, the thing that you have to do X, Y, and Z in order to get that thing. But in all actuality, you have to make the plan itself, the actions that you take, the real goal. Because once that becomes the real goal, you'll start to do it more frequently. And you only get that end result as a result of doing that thing. But not only is the plan itself important, but you have to make the actions that you take the goal itself. Because the true goal, the true event that people just want to arrive to one day only comes as a consequence of doing those things day in and day out, having that repetition and that consistency. But of course, none of this will happen unless you believe that it can happen. Another idea, probably one of my favorites from this book, is the idea of how powerful your subconscious mind really is. If you want a Lamborghini, you are going to notice a Lamborghini on the streets wherever you go. Why? Because your subconscious mind wants that reality. Just like how every negative thought and every negative emotion that you have about your day, those events seem to keep repeating themselves. Your negative thoughts attract negative behaviors and future negative events to happen. If you just learn to flip that switch and focus only on the positives, you will attract more positive results, just like that Lamborghini. And not only does that work just for opportunities, but for people as well. If you surround yourself with people who think that same way, you will of course prosper. Likewise, if you surround yourself with people who are negative and help to bring you down, you will not be able to get out of that reach because you are always being dragged down. No matter how high you climb, you are always being pulled right back down. So focus on the positives, surround yourself with people who are thinking bigger, and train your subconscious mind to focus on the good. And the last thing from this book is that indecision will kill your life faster than failure ever could. Think about it this way. Every time you fail is a moment to learn, something to excel from moving forward. But if you take one step back and realize, how did you get to that failure? It's because you made a decision and that decision didn't pan out, which means, okay, for next time, I now know what path to choose instead of the one that I chose. Hopefully it's a path that will take you to where you want to go, right? Similar thing with indecision. If you don't even make those decisions, you won't ever get to those points of learning, or what we call failure in normal life. The more decisions that you can make, the faster you will fail and the faster that you will learn. And in the end, learning and growing is always the goal. So the quicker that you can do that, the quicker you can get from point A to point B. And the best part is that not every decision will be right. You have to know that you cannot expect that every decision that you make will be right. But what you must do is make the decision the right one. And in theory, that sounds well and good. In practicality, that won't always be the case, but you just have to do the best you can with the decisions that you make so that you can continue to make more and more and more decisions as time goes on. And finally, one bad decision is nothing but a learning point. But doing nothing will get you nothing. Book number 2, everybody's favorite, or everybody's first book typically, is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Now, this book, after reading it, I thought, wow, that's awesome. Buy assets and don't have liabilities. Sounds simple, right? I went off to everybody I knew and said that exact thing. I found the path to be rich. And then people would just look at you like, yeah, Of course. Because then once the excitement wears off of, oh my God, I gotta get assets, you start to question, wait a minute, how am I actually gonna do that? What does that entail? How do I have to progress in order to increase that side of the column and decrease the amount of liabilities that you have? And in case you guys aren't aware, the simple definition of assets is something that makes you money, and liabilities, something that costs you money. Assets would be owning shares of businesses, whether it's your own, whether it's somebody else's, that could be the stock market. Art is another example of an asset, something that you own, something that increases in value, or something that just holds its value over time. Liabilities, on the other hand, something that reduces the amount of money that you have, or rather, something that you have to pay money towards, like a house, a mortgage, a car payment, credit cards. Those are liabilities. Those are things that you have to pay money outwards. And really the whole point of this book is just to understand that fact. This is what they are, and this is how you get them. Another big focus, albeit a simple focus about this book, is that the rich don't work for money. Money works for them. They are able to utilize leverage to control people, to control tools, to control assets in order to increase their value over time. Because when you can leverage all of these systems and tools and other people to do work for you, you are no longer trading your time for money. That is the one recurring theme throughout the entirety of these books that will break you free from the shackles that you're in. And finally, one thing that people always overlook is the idea that you are your own biggest asset. If you are not in shape, if you are out of focus, if you can't work productively for days in a row, everything else will suffer as a result. So get in shape, learn new skills, surround yourself with better people, improve your environment in which that you work, because as you improve, everything else around you will also improve with you. Now, book number 3, I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. This book is more about personal finance and less so business, but it does include relevant themes that can help your business as well. One of the first and most important topics in this book is to utilize systems to automate your money. Utilize your credit cards for your cashback and protection. Utilize automatic savings plans for your savings and investments. And 3, budget really well so you build up the spending discipline so you don't spend money on poor habits and instead can save the majority of your money for your long-term growth engines. The most underrated piece of advice from this lesson here is that subconsciously, you no longer have to think about what happens with your money. Picture this, your money starts here, goes into your checkings account. Some of that automatically flows to your investment. Some of that flows to your savings plan. Some of that flows to your emergency fund. And then from that, you only have a smaller leftover pot to use for your necessary expenses like food, travel, entertainment, and other things. It's all done for you, and now you can focus on different, more important tasks. Another great idea from this book is to handle the basics first. So many people are looking for expert advice and insider secrets when they're the same ones that don't know how to budget properly. They're the same ones that make terrible spending mistakes. And like learning any new skill, whether it's a sport, whether it's playing the guitar, you need to drill the consistency with the basics first. You cannot build unless you have a strong foundation. So spend some time making a fantastic budgeting plan, spend some time learning how your automated savings work, and once you're able to do that consistently and still be comfortable with whatever is left over, only then look for more. And what do I mean by more? Or rather, what does Ramit mean by more? Multiple income streams. Let's break it down. If all of your income comes from one place, what happens when that is washed away? What happens if you get fired, if you get laid off? You're probably in panic mode, right? But if you are able to figure out multiple streams of income, if one washes up, hopefully the other 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 are doing really, really well. The point is you're protected, you're covered, you're diversified. If one thing fails, that's all right. Put more time and energy into the rest. And once you have that stability, you're able to take more risks. And that is where things can compound like crazy. Book number 4. My favorite one. The Millionaire Fastlane by MJ DeMarco is my personal favorite out of these 5 books, because that shit will slap you into reality like nothing else. This book breaks it down into 2 paths. You have your slow lane and you have your fast lane. The slow lane is what the majority of people, myself included, right now are currently a part of. You work a job, you save a little bit of money, you're able to invest a little bit, but you only get about 8 to 10% gain in the stock market, and that's usually the only asset that you have. So what do? You work for 40 years, you're a slave to your job, you hate what you do, and all of a sudden you're 65 years old with maybe a little bit of savings that you can play with until you die. Not super appealing, right? You're able to save a little bit of money monthly, which great, you're doing better than most, but you're still trading your time for money. And that's the big difference between these 2 lanes. The fast lane, on the other hand, is building a business, creating value at scale. How many people can you reach? How many millions of people can you reach? He has a couple laws. If you follow all of these laws, then theoretically you should have a killer business. And another recurring theme is to utilize leverage. Because once you're able to utilize leverage and create value at scale, you no longer are trading your time for money, and instead you've created something that can now be sent to millions of people. The biggest overarching idea here is that at some point you will have to detach your time from your money. Because if your income always depends on time, time always has a limit, and therefore you will never be able to create wealth. But if you build systems inside of a business or other assets, you now have income that is no longer attached to your time. You could be anywhere doing anything and money is still coming in. Ultimately, that's the goal, at least in this book. Which begs the question, what is freedom to you guys? Do you care about time freedom, financial freedom, location freedom? Let me know down in the comments below. What does freedom mean to you? And one more thing this book nails is that time is your most important asset. Now, unrelated, but I heard a quote recently that goes, how do you spell love? And the answer is T-I-M-E. Why? Because it is non-infinite. Time is something that we all are always reducing and something that we can never make more. No matter how much money we have, no matter how healthy we have, time is finite. We can never get more. And therefore, who you spend your time with and how you spend your time matters more than anything else in this entire world. In the grand scheme of things, you can always make more money no matter what happens, but you will never, no matter how hard you try, be able to make more time. So protect your time. Put your time into people and places and things and activities that matter, and learn to say no to things that don't matter. Now, book number 5, The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. This book is more about how you perceive money, similar to the first book, Think and Grow Rich, but it's more about your mindset going into creating wealth. And this book is last on the list, but it is definitely not least. Lesson 1, wealth is built with time. You can get rich quickly. You can sell a big thing and have a lot of money right away. But building wealth takes time. That is something you spend investing and protecting. And things increase in value over time due to something called compound interest. The longer you stay in a game, the more that works out in your favor. It is also why Warren Buffett is touted as the greatest investor of all time, not because he's had the highest returns in any short amount of time, but he has had the highest returns for the longest amount of time. And trust me, that guy's had a lot of time in the market. Another great topic in this book is that you have to be smart with your risk. Risk exists for a reason. Some people are more tolerant to risks. Some people will not take risk at any point for any reason. But risks are good. You can take risks. You can mess around here and there, as long as you don't put everything into a big risk. What I mean by that, if you have an investment or you have an idea that can put you into ruin, is that really a smart risk to take? Because if one bad decision can completely wipe you out, now you're back to square one, or even worse than where you started. So plan accordingly and protect your money. Because the goal isn't always just to make the money, but it's also to protect that same money. And you want to protect it, because sometimes the only goal isn't just making money, but it's protecting it too, especially from the tax man. And the sad truth is that you can lose money way faster than you can make it. To that point, if your lifestyle grows along with your income, then you are back to square one. You haven't actually advanced in any way whatsoever. So what's difficult for some people is to keep your living expenses the same as you increase your income, and now you are technically living below your means, but you are now creating a wealth engine and a system to protect that money. And one of my favorite points about this book, and actually all of these books combined, is that money isn't the goal, but having freedom is. Yeah, sure, money gives you options. It buys you a little bit of time. Sometimes it gives you control, but it's what you're able to do with that time, money, and control that's important. The ability to do what you want, with who you want, when you want, and for as long as you want. That's really the goal. So think about this. Would you agree that if money was no object to you, the most important thing in your life would come down to what you do, who you do it with, for how long you do it, and when you do it? If you can control all of those factors and money is no longer an object to you, is that the end goal? Let me know down below. So if you take anything out of this video, it's this: control. Control your actions, control your thoughts, and control your money, and protect it all. Build your multiple income streams, provide value to as many people as humanly possible, and please enjoy the damn process. Because the whole point of this game is to build a life that you enjoy living. And so what's the point in doing that if you don't enjoy the steps of actually getting there in the first place? Plus, it's more sustainable, so why the heck not? Now, if you guys did enjoy this video, I would appreciate if you click the subscribe button here. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. That's it for me. Take care.